Hey everyone, this is Dimitri Pergamonic with MarketChameleon.com. In this video, I wanted to talk about option order flow sentiment. I'm going to use Tesla as an example because I just had a question about this option order flow sentiment in Tesla. And I wanted to describe kind of what this means and how to read it. Some people, they're asking me, well, can I swing trade an option order flow sentiment? And the answer is no, not really. It's option order flow sentiment. It's not a predictor. It's not no type of a predictor if the stock's going to go up or down, up or down. That's not what it's doing. Option order flow sentiment is really a reading of how traders might be feeling today about a stock. So I'm going to give you, let me give you a quick example of what I mean by that, and then we're going to come back to this Tesla example. And I did like a short presentation here. So this is what the option order flow sentiment is, how traders may be feeling about a stock today. And this is why it's important. I'll give you an example of what you might be used to it. And like today, right now we have elections, and during elections, we do a few different things to see what the sentiment is or how a candidate is doing. So you could track a few different things, like for example, a survey where you call up potential voters and ask them questions, and then they do a poll, and then they see which candidate is more favorite, which one is going up in the polls, which one's going down in the polls. You could also measure the crowd size at a rally. So for example, when a candidate comes, how many people are showing up? 200, 300, 1,000. Is it growing or shrinking? And another way to look at it is donations. So for example, if one candidate is receiving donations from his supporters, let's say $1 million a month in donations, and then all of a sudden, if that $1 million a month goes to $2 million this month, so that's kind of an indicator that people are getting more positive, or more people are coming in, or the people who are giving money are giving more money. So it's kind of a sentiment of based on, well, there's lots of information out there, right? People are watching ads, they're reading news, they're getting each other's opinions, and based on all this diverse information that people are getting from different places, overall, are the trends moving in a positive or negative direction as far as how people may be feeling about the candidate? So I'm going to go just over here, and the interesting one here is, and all these are important, they look at all these three, but let's take a look. For example, donations are when people actually log in, put in their credit card, and send somebody money. And that's a very strong indicator, right? Because you're really showing a commitment. You're actually pulling out your wallet, going on the internet, logging in, and sending that person money. So you're kind of putting your money where your mouth is, and shows a lot of commitment. So that could be a very strong indicator how people are feeling today. Of course, they could change their mind tomorrow if something happens, an old video shows up on the news, or they say something. That could change any day, but at least at the moment, when we're comparing it to what's historically the norm, and if that's going up, that's showing that it's moving in a positive direction. So let's take a look at how we could relate that to a stock over here. So now I'm going to go back to Tesla over here, and the option order flow sentiment, it's looking at option trades, and it's important. Let's just talk really quickly about like which option trades it's looking at, to get a sense of how people might be feeling. Now, there's a lot of different option trades that go into the market that, for example, like a straddle or a strangle, or, these complex order types or buy rates. Now, those trades are kind of noisy. They don't really tell us if that somebody's actually feeling bullish or bearish. They're very hard to determine. So we move those out of the way as noisy trades. Because if somebody is buying a straddle or strangle, even a spread, we don't know what they might be playing volatility, doing some kind of hedges. So we move those out of the way, and we look at only trades that, and over here I'm going to show an example we're only looking at trades here, calls, single-legged trades, calls, and puts. And we're looking at trades that the trade price happened on the offer. And the idea there is we're looking for only trades that appear to be on the buy side, that the incoming order was coming from the buy side, not the sell side. And and they traded on the market making quote. And the reason we do that is when you buy a call, of course that's bullish, and when you sell a put, that is a positive delta. It is bullish, but it's not the same thing as buying a call. Because if you're selling an option, like for example, like let's say you're selling an out of the money put, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like very bullish or committed, because in reality, when you're selling an option, you just want the stock to sit there. You want to collect the decay. You want the implied volatility to come in. So you don't even need the stock to go up. And if it's an out of the money put, even if the stock moves down a little bit, as long as it doesn't cross your strike, you're fine with it. So it's not as strong a single as buying a call, because if you're buying a call and you do nothing else, just buy a call, you really need that stock to move up to cover the cost of the premium and to move above and beyond it, because every day that option is going to decay, right? So if you're buying a call, you're really showing a big commitment, that you think the stock is going to move higher. Of course, maybe if implied volatility goes up, you might make it, but it's still going to be very hard unless the stock moves up and covers the cost of that premium. Same thing with the put. So we look at just the two. We just weigh the two different the bullish call buying and bullish put buying, and we compare those two to see what's to try to get a measure of what the sentiment might be in the marketplace. So then let's take a look here at Tesla, and this is the current. So here we see that this is the notional value of bullish call buying, 556 million on the day, versus bearish put buying, 141 million on a day. And we see here that 80% of the notional value was bullish versus 20% bearish here. Now let's compare that to the 30-day average. So on the 30-day average, we see that here 71% of the time there's more bullish call buying than bearish put. So that's kind of typical here in Tesla in the last 30 days. And we see that on average, there's $120 million in notional value in bullish call buying versus 48 million bearish put buying. So what we do see here, though, is that there's been a big uptick, right? From 120 million in notional to 556 million. So what we're doing, just like we're describing in a candidate when he's getting donations from, an average 1 million, if it grows to 2 million, that's shown that at this moment, whatever information is being out there, people are feeling a little bit more confident, right now, and they're committing more money, right? They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're putting more money where what they believe in. And over here, you could see that in the last 5 days, it's also been upticking a little bit, right? From 120 million, kind of doubled here, to 75% bullish call buying. Here we see the number of contracts traded. So we do see that, on average, the number of contracts that traded have also went up. So what we also see, what goes into the strength, right? So we do see an increasing bullishness. Remember, tomorrow could change if something different news comes out, different information. Obviously, everything could change the next day, just like we were talking about for the candidate. It's just a sentiment reading on how might people be feeling at the moment, right? That's what this is. How people are currently betting, how they're inputting their orders, and we're trying to get a sentiment reading from that. Now, when we talk about strength, a couple other things going in, not just the notional value of all the bullish calls versus bearish puts. We also look at the number of contracts. We also look at the volume of the contracts, because you could have a big notional that's just one trade. So that could be coming just from one place. The number of contract tells us how many different trades are coming in. So if there's lots of different trades, that's potentially lots of different people coming in feeling bullish. So we look at the number of contracts and the volume of the contracts as well. We also look at the number of bullish call buying versus bearish put buying versus the total notional value as well to get this overall strength. But the idea here is that we section off only bullish calls versus bearish put buying, and then compare the two versus each other and versus its historical averages to see if it's increasing or decreasing in one of the directions. Now, another question that came up, and I'm looking at the trades here as well, what if there's a bullish call buying in February 7th? That means it's very short term versus like something like January 15th, 2001. Does this mean that this trade is bullish for longer term? And the answer is like, we don't know that for sure because we just know how the trade was executed today. The person who bought a leap 1 year out could change his mind tomorrow just as much as the person who just bought 5 days out. As the new information comes in, they could change their mind tomorrow. So we don't know really, that they're definitely going to remain bullish for a year or for 6 months or 1 year. Remember, they could always change their mind, go the other way. We just know how did the order come in right now, and then we aggregate them, and it's continuously just updating as more and more orders come in. It just aggregates the orders to see which way it's trending. So that's basically the quick description of option order flow sentiment. Hopefully this was helpful. See you guys in the next video.